Welcome to the DplusCast. My name's Garrett.
And I'm Will.
And I'm Greg.
And on this week's show, we review the debut of HBO Max, the future of movie theaters, The Simpsons getting a makeover, and list the titles that currently are not on Disney Plus, but we think should be. So it's going to be a fun show. Stick around. Hey, fellas, how you doing?
Doing all right. How you doing, Garrett?
I'm making it. Got my coffee, ready to record a podcast.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. So what have you guys been watching lately, Greg?
Well, I'll give you two things. One, I started watching MASH recently. Never seen an episode before in my life. I started from season 1, and hey, maybe you've heard, MASH is a great show.
That's a great show.
It really is. Starting like immediately. It also like, I'm not going to say they figured out the casting immediately, but from episode 1, you're like, oh, this is going to be good. So I'm all in. It's my new bedtime series. And speaking of old bedtime series, which ended up evolving into regular shows that I was required to watch with my wife, here's an update on my Friends viewing.
I'm excited.
So Garrett, so here's where we're at. You may recall a few episodes back, I explained that Garrett had driven seasons 8, 9, and 10 over to my house. And I haven't gotten to explain this to you yet, but I popped in the first disc of 8. Disc doesn't work.
Shut up.
I popped in the second disc of it. I popped in the second disc. It doesn't work. I switched over to 9. One of those discs doesn't work, but one of the later ones does work. So I don't know if you dropped a magnet on those or something, but a bunch of the discs are just randomly not working. Thankfully, HBO Max has landed. So now I have the opportunity to watch Friends, but because of reasons I'm sure we'll get into later, I can only watch it on my laptop or my desktop and not on my television screen.
Oh, we'll
get into that
later.
a little bit later. Yeah.
So I've never watched MASH. I've never watched MASH. Where is it? Where have you been watching it? Where is it living?
It's on Hulu. They have all the episodes.
That's good to know.
Cool.
And I also recently canceled Sling TV. I realized I can log into my mom's cable provider and watch everything on individual apps. So I upgraded Hulu to commercial free. So it's nice balance. I still more commercials on the TV side since I don't have a DVR fast forward functionality, but on the Hulu side, commercial free. Got to keep that balance,
It's interesting that you mentioned the commercial. It's interesting that you mentioned the commercial-free aspect of Hulu, since I was reading a Deadline piece, and I guess some Barclays financial analyst was talking about how, listen, despite the level of unemployment and the uncertainty going on right now, that ad-free service subscriptions are wildly outpacing ad-supported services. So, people are willing to pay. People don't want ads. I get annoyed when I see an ad on YouTube, frankly. Why am I seeing this? I don't want to see it.
If I have to see Anthony Anderson talk to his mother about the T-Mobile bill one more time, I'm going to put my fist through the screen. So, yeah, I agree. No ads.
Meanwhile, I've been watching a lot of ads because I have all the. I'm paying for it. I don't pay for the ad-free stuff. So even the YouTube ones, whatever. At this point I know how to do it. I just skip it. It's not a big deal to me. But I get it. I'm sure it's nice.
It is.
What have you been watching? Anything good? Anything
No,
of note?
same stuff. I've been watching Survivor. I'm back in old seasons of Survivor I've already seen. I've been playing a new Dragon Ball Z fighting game. All that kind of stuff.
I plugged in my PlayStation 3 last week, since I never got around to getting a 4, and I was playing Madden 16, so I don't know, a 6-year-old video game.
How was that?
And I was just it was fine. It was fine for me. I mean, it freezes every 45 seconds or so, but it did the trick. I've been watching a lot of movies. I think I've been in quarantine roughly 71, 72 days, and I've watched about 102 movies.
Nice.
Yeah, the last one I watched, I did a rewatch of No Country for Old Men. It's a good flick. Excellent film. That is an excellent film. Did a little John Hughes
Love me
viewing,
some-
The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller.
I did watch Ferris
turned
Bueller
on little
recently. That's good.
Yeah. You know, those movies I don't have an affinity towards them like most. And I think it's just maybe because I was the next generation of teen comedies. So like I'll watch Can't Hardly Wait like 4 times a year and love it. And it's one
You're
of
a
those,
big Idle Hands fan.
yes, Idle Hands, Final Destination.
Final Destination 2, that's the best one.
She's All That, you know. I like that type of stuff. So we know that theme parks are starting to open, and I think it's interesting that Disneyland, I think before, was in one of the later phases of California reopenings. It's since been upgraded to phase 3. We're currently in phase 2, right, of reopening? I believe we're in phase 2 in Los Angeles.
That sounds right.
Or California. Yeah, let's say we're in phase 2. I think it being upgraded to phase 3 is because it's a lot of outdoor activity, a lot of passing by people, not a lot of not long periods of time around the same people. Now, where something that is completely opposite of that is sitting in a movie theater. So I think we need to talk about the death of movie theaters. I had tickets to go see Hamilton for my birthday a month ago. No, it was 2 months ago. I've lost track of time. And of course, you know, they didn't have the performance. And I got an email saying that I had a priority access to rebook tickets for a later show. They've extended the run through next February.
Sure, makes sense.
And I'm like, well, let's say I get tickets for next February. Am I going to be comfortable sitting in a 3.5-hour show in one room with people? And when I hear someone cough, am I going to be turning my head? And Hamilton's coming to Disney Plus on July 3rd. And do I really need to spend this money? And I said, no, I'm not willing to do it. And I think we're all going to be asking those questions. I'm not going to sit in a movie theater, I don't think, at least for a calendar year.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, unless there's more
not-
firm regulations or anything that comes out that's going to give me more feeling of safety going into it. Yeah, I have no plans to do that. And we talked about before this whole thing started that movie theaters were on the way out, with like The Irishman and with all these things that were starting to go direct to streaming services. This alone, I mean, it'll be a shock to see if movie theaters actually make it through this.
Yeah, it's not like going to the local AMC is like an experience at the Park Plaza, you know?
Yeah.
You're basically going there to see a big screen and some cool sound and eat popcorn. So if you're eating popcorn, are you wearing a mask? Probably not.
Yeah.
So you're sitting in one spot for 3 hours because Lord knows every movie needs to be 2 hours and 40 minutes these days. I wish we could go back to the 100-minute movie days. Like, God bless you, Alfred Hitchcock.
Got to get into those shitty horror movies, man. That's where I live.
Yeah.
Like, each one's like 90 minutes long, knows what it is, gets in and out. It's great.
But it's interesting because this past week, Warner Brothers debuted the Tenet trailer, Christopher Nolan's newest blockbuster film, and they kept quiet about it for a bit. And then if you watch the trailer at the very end, the screen's black and it says that, like, the words come up one at a time, coming to theaters, and it does not give a date, but they are doubling down. And I'm sure Nolan said, like, no, you're not putting my stuff on demand. Like, no, I built this studio in the 21st century. You know, I made the studio what it is in the past 20 years. So no, you're not doing that. But I'm not going to see Tenet in a movie theater. I don't care if it's Christopher Nolan. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's some type of creative solution that's like, you know, they're going to create, I don't know, like the health test passes things that they did over in like in China where you can like scan your phone or whatever and I can get confirmation, that kind of stuff. Unless those type of strict regulations get put in place, which it doesn't seem like are even close to being on the horizon out here, there's no way that I go to a theater for this kind of stuff.
And I think I was reading I think it was the New York Times wrote an article about Broadway. And like Greg said, it's not even the regulations or the restrictions. Like, yeah, I agree with all those, and I think they're useful. I think the New York Times article was titled "The Biggest Worry of Going to Broadway: Jerks," and it's these jerks that won't wear a mask. Or refuse to stay 6 feet away from you, and it's just like, wow, there's just this lack of respect. And listen, we can go into this whole thing about how this has become this entire
All
culture
day.
war, and I don't know if I want to punch a plate glass window or if I want to cry in the fetal position. It changes with every moment. But me personally, I'm not going to a movie theater. It just ain't happening. So for a year, I guess I'll watch these big blockbusters on my 65-inch TV.
Ooh, 65.
You'll have to do.
Yeah, I upgraded to 65.
I can see why you're staying home now.
Yeah, and I have a full Sonos.
Okay.
So yeah, I was watching Heat last night with the Sonos.
That's great.
And my fiance was like, "Does it have to be so loud?" And I said, "Absolutely." It
He says he wants to go
does.
back. Garrett says he wants to go back to 100-minute movies, but he's just sitting there watching Heat and Goodfellas over and over again.
I was gonna say,
Well, to be fair, I don't watch Heat in one sitting. I watch it in like 3 sittings.
Oh, okay,
So I watch it
alright.
in like 100-minute intervals, you know?
I mean, I remember your Irishman rants, so like how much you love that movie. You know,
We just need to go to more 300-minute films is what we need.
Well, I'll watch a 300-minute film in my home.
For sure.
But, you know,
Yeah.
listen, I can't sit through a 3-hour movie without peeing and having to figure out when to walk out of the movie theater and guess if I'm gonna miss a big piece of exposition. It's
one of my
stressful.
most recent favorite movie-going experiences was going to see Avengers Endgame for the second time. Because I was like, I treated it very much like a sporting event. I just went and I was like, I'm going to get a couple beers. I'm going to like just get up and go. And I know like there's nothing that important. Last hour I'm plugging in because this is this is the fourth quarter, you know, and that was great.
I did the same thing when I took my fiance to Endgame and I'd already seen it. So I would give her like a nudge every like hour saying like, if you're going to go to the bathroom, go now.
That makes sense. I bet we picked the same spots too.
So something exciting, especially for Greg as an animation writer. Greg, you love The Simpsons. We all love The Simpsons.
Yeah, man, I grew up on The Simpsons. It was influential. It's probably a good reason why I'm an animation comedy writer today. Absolutely. And so, yeah, this was pretty big news.
So you want to talk about the news? You go for it.
I mean, the news is that Disney Plus finally released the uncropped versions of The Simpsons. Up until this point, they've been airing 16:9 edits of the early Simpsons episodes, but the show didn't air that way. It aired in a 4:3 aspect ratio. So, I know a lot of people be like, oh, you're being a stickler. Oh, that's not important. It doesn't matter. But the truth is, like, on The Simpsons, there are jokes all over the screen. They were literally cropping out jokes and cropping out, like, people's heads, and it was kind of egregious. There's one joke in particular that I remember. It's season 4. It's the Duff episode, and they're in the Duff factory, and in the cropped version,
Right.
Well, in the regular version, there's this joke that like you could see that Duff and Duff Light and Duff Dry all have all the beers actually coming from the same pipe.
Same pipe, yeah.
It doesn't matter at all. But in the 16:9 version, that was cropped off. You couldn't actually see that, so the joke was totally lost. And there's like a lot of examples of that happening throughout this show. So I'm just glad we're getting it back in its original form, and we can watch it the way it was intended, because that was how it was produced. That's how everything should be seen, if you ask me. You know, this is how it was shot. That's how it should look.
Yeah, I wasn't as much of a stickler about The Simpsons being widescreen. I think that was just a misguided. It wasn't misguided. It was the public has not been educated on aspect ratios as they should.
Yeah.
You know, so you get a big widescreen TV and you want to see everything in widescreen, but it wasn't shot in widescreen, so everybody looks fat. You know, because they widen it. A big stickler, and I love their selection of movies, and they have an excellent library of movies every month. Stars. I love Stars. But if you stream stuff on Stars and it is anything wider than a regular 16:9, if it's CinemaScope, I turned on like Spider-Man 2 and it was cropped. And everything looks odd. It makes it look like the director and the director of photography don't know how to frame a shot. And it's just like, it's very distracting. And maybe I'm a nerd because of that, but it looks off. That's all. I want
everything in its original aspect ratio, and you know what? Put the option there that you could switch it off to be 16:9, since that's the shape of everyone's television.
Just give me the choice.
And if you're, give me the option. But I always want the option to watch it how it was originally filmed or originally drawn, because otherwise you're missing stuff, or you're just seeing these weird, awkward top of heads being cut off and jokes being cut out, and it's. Yeah, I'm glad that they finally rectified this. So the first, I don't know how many seasons, I want to say 11, 12 seasons are now available the way they were supposed to be seen.
I've got a question for you, Greg, based off of this. When you're writing, I don't know how much of this you have to take into consideration or not, but like as the writer of it, but when you're writing this kind of like animated stuff, are you ever considering aspect ratios, like whether or not there should be a joke on the edge of the screen, or do you think that's ultimately decided by like the animators in some ways?
That's definitely ultimately decided by the animators. I would imagine, however, on a show like The Simpsons, where they were very hands-on, working hand in hand with the animators, that they had a little, or at least the showrunner had a little bit more leeway to direct the animators as to where to put certain jokes. But I would say more often than not in current television speak, it's the animators' choice as to where to place
Makes
things.
sense.
I'm sure showrunners in general get extra clout.
Yeah. I was just kind of wondering how it's shaped the art that we see now, just out of curiosity. But
well, I mean, speaking of animation, there was a new Pixar SparkShort added to Disney Plus recently called Out. And before I get into Out in particular, I just want to sort of broadly talk about these Pixar SparkShorts. And I don't know if you guys have watched a lot of them, all of them.
I think I've watched most of them. I'm not sure if I saw Wind, but I saw the rest of them for sure.
This is the only one I've seen. I didn't know it was a thing until you mentioned it. And now I'm like, I would love to watch all of them because this was great. But we'll get to that, I'm sure.
Generally, I would say they're excellent. And most very good. I think, and I was talking about this in private, and now I'm going to speak about it to the 3 people listening. Hello, Finland. How are you, Finland?
The Finnish can't get enough of this stuff.
Can't get enough of this podcast. I find it hard with these SparkShorts to be critical, because every single one of these SparkShorts is so deeply personal to whoever wrote it, directed, and animated it that I feel like it's hard to put together a critical point that doesn't make you sound like a bully.
I'll be that bully. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, there definitely are some that I think aren't as good as others, but you can see the personal story there where you go, like, okay, I see where this person's coming from. But that doesn't always mean it translates to a wider audience. And
right.
But these are the SparkShorts. They're not the Pixar shorts that come on before the movie. They're additional content on Disney Plus. So it's like, I mean, good for them for like doing, stepping outside the box and not being afraid to talk about themselves and their personal lives or subjects that a normal movie or a normal short might not actually be brave enough to venture into. I want to say, this one, the Out, is obviously about coming out. The one before it was about a nonverbal girl who I don't even want to use I don't want to even say anything because I don't want to use the wrong phrase. But yeah, she's somewhere on the spectrum, I think it's safe to say, and that's kind of what that's about. And so, they're really trying to make some statements with these films, and that's kind of nice.
Yeah, I like it. I think the one that I was sort of underwhelmed by was Float, and I don't know if you watched Float, but
it was cute.
It was cute, but I started like picking. The second I was done, I started picking it apart. and saying things like, he just yelled at his son, but he didn't even apologize.
Yeah.
Why can't you just be normal? And it's like, well, dude, you can't just move on without. Anyways, but Out was not one of the ones that I wanted to be critical about. And I think that's why I wanted to point that out before I talk about Out, because I felt Out was so great in the story it told, how it told the story. And I'll tell you one thing, though. The climactic point when the mother's speaking to the dog and she uses the pronoun he, and that's like the big reveal that she knows that her son's gay. I had the subtitles on, and it sort of stepped on the moment. So I would say, are you guys subtitle watchers? Do you watch TVs and shows with subtitles on?
Not typically.
It depends. If on the British, when I watch a British show, I was watching Dairy Girls, which takes place in Ireland in the early '90s. Like, I needed subtitles for that, but generally speaking, I try to keep them off. Unless I can understand. Yeah.
I keep closed captions on now. I think it just helps with my comprehension of all the dialogue and stuff. But I've been turning it off for animation and comedy. Like 1 week we accidentally forgot to turn it off for Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it ruined the whole episode. Like, you can't have the words written on the screen step on the moment of a joke or reveal like in the SparkShort Out. So what did you guys think of Out? How did it make you feel? I felt that, like, listen, we cannot underplay the idea that we had a gay male kiss on Disney Plus, acceptance, family, everything that the three of us, support and wish the world was more like. For that to go onto Disney Plus, which has a broader audience of people who, to be polite, I guess would say, are not ready for something like that.
Potentially, yeah.
But
that's the
in private. In private, I would word that a lot differently. But on this podcast, I'll say they're not ready for something like that. Well, get ready, guys. Get ready. You should be ready. You should have been ready a long time ago.
I thought it was great. I texted you guys when I was watching it this morning at about 9. I was like, great, now I'm crying on a Saturday morning. I liked a lot about it. I think one of the things that hit me in a somewhat personal way was like the mom being like, beyond the actual, like, we accept you for who you are, but like, why it hurts that you had to move so far away. And I was like, I did that to my mom. That's sad.
Same, yeah.
So I was like, I identify with that a little bit. But I think that that's part of it too. Like, it wasn't just a coming out story, although it was also like, this human moment too. And it didn't deal in too many like tropes. I didn't feel like it was just like a family that was dealing with stuff that they weren't talking about. And because of that, I thought it really worked. Even at the 10 minutes it definitely hit the qualifications for a Pixar thing where it made me laugh and made me cry. So that's what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of did everything, and it also, it dealt with a really sensitive, personal subject, but at the same time, it did it in a very Disney way. There was a level of magic and comedy, and and slapstick humor, and yeah, it felt like a fun Disney cartoon while still evoking the emotional stuff that it evokes. So it was really a really great 7, 8, 9 minute little short.
Yeah, and what I really
dug it.
What I really appreciated about it, and I wish more movies would do this, or even just TV, whatever. I liked how they didn't explain the whole magic behind why he's switching with the dog. Like, I don't need to know that.
Yeah.
I watched Groundhog Day last week, and what's great about that movie, they don't explain it, and you don't need it. I don't need to know why. If Groundhog Day's made today, we would have the first 20 minutes, and we'd have another half hour added to the movie explaining the junk science that went into why he spent 20 years with the same day. And I think Out sort of captured that magic. Just like, let's trust everybody to just believe it.
I am kind of curious, how did you guys interpret the beginning that did kind of prompt the magic of it. There was some sort of rainbow and a dog and cat from. I mean, I kind of read that as like his pets from the past, because there's this rainbow bridge thing when your pets pass away.
Ooh.
So this like rainbow comes down from the sky, and a dog and a cat are looking on, and they kind of imbue this spirit into his dog's collar. And I was like, first of all, I don't know if we even needed that aspect of it. Like, this could have all been done without the rainbow cat and dog. But they did it, and so I was wondering how you guys might have interpreted that. That's kind of how I figured it.
I didn't even think about that, and I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to add upon it in that it sort of does fit with the theme, in that you said it could be his previous pets. And what happens later on in the short is that the mother confides in the pet. So if our protagonist has been closeted his entire life,
confiding in his pets,
he's confiding in his pets. He's having these confessionals, and while pets go on the rainbow bridge to heaven, we all know that the rainbow represents a whole slew of things in the LGBTQ community. So it really does have that sort of double meaning. And now that I just keep word vomiting about it, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I like that.
I feel really smart right now.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, themes, guys. Look at all these themes and symbolisms. I'm gonna go watch it again now. So the big news this week is that HBO Max debuted, unless you have Roku or an Amazon Fire Stick, which represents 80 million people. You don't get HBO Max yet.
Yeah, so not without a hiccup. It was definitely not the smoothest rollout, because I think everybody was expecting to get it. Like, there was no advance notice that this wasn't going to be available on Roku or wasn't going to be available. That the day it launched, everyone found out that, I can't actually watch it on here. So,
nobody knew. I had to go on Twitter and find people saying, HBO Now is going to turn into HBO Max. And it's like, oh. And then you really screw something up when there's a YouTube video that's put up by HBO that says HBO Go versus HBO Now versus HBO Max explainer video. That's when you screwed the pooch.
Yeah, I could.
When you have to put up that
I need
video.
to watch that, because I still honestly don't know the difference. Like, that's I will say, conversely, my experience with because I started the trial with HBO Max has been super easy and seamless, because I have the Hulu app on my PlayStation. It was like, do you want to start an HBO Max trial? All you gotta do is click here. In 7 days, it'll be like this charge that'll be added, but you're good till then. Clicked it, was ready to go.
I do that a lot with Prime Video.
Yeah,
I do that with Prime Video, with like Cinemax or Showtime or things like that.
It was super easy. But
I think that's actually where the issue is. It's with Hulu and Prime Video. They already get revenue through HBO, and so that's why there's a pushback from HBO. They're like, no, we want the whole piece of the pie now. And so I think that's why they're pushing back against Amazon and Roku too, because they're just allowing you to buy HBO through other venues, and they're like, no, that's over now. We've got our own app. We want that to be its own thing.
So what I was looking forward to with HBO Max was access to the entire Warner Brothers film library, right? And the way they advertised it, that's what they were selling. They were like, look at all of these movies we have in our library, right? And I had all of these negative feelings on day one of HBO Max, and I sort of thought, like, am I being overly critical? And then I found 2 Gizmodo articles, and that sort of, echoed what I was thinking. So I came up with a game that I'm going to call HBO Meh.
I like it.
Get it? Like HBO Max, it's more like HBO Meh. Because if you look through all of the movies on HBO Max, and there is, I'll give them one compliment. When I have a stream, I'll give them one compliment. When I have a streaming service, I want to see every movie you have on there from A to Z. Give me that option to scroll through. Netflix doesn't allow you to do that. Stars does. HBO Max does. Showtime does. Hulu does not. Like there are a lot of there's a lot of like
Hulu-
sort of hiding and sort of they want you to scroll through a lot of stuff to get to what you want. And I'm paying you. Tell me what you have to offer so I don't have to waste my life searching for it. This isn't the bargain bin at Walmart. You're Hulu. Let me choose what I want to watch. Anywho, so when you look through the A to Z stuff, I would say 60% of all of the movie titles on there, underneath the title, say HBO, which means that those movies are on that service temporarily. That means that they're currently on HBO. They're not. It's not like Disney Plus. When Disney Plus arrived and you went on Disney Plus and you said, oh my God, I've got access to all these movies in perpetuity. That was the benefit of it. That's why I'm going to stick with you for $7 a month, because I can watch this movie whenever the heck I want. And if you look at HBO Max, it's a lot of HBO rent. What do you say? HBO licensed movies, HBO original content, a little bit of Turner Classic Movies like sprinkled throughout, and that's basically it. So with this game, HBO Meh, I am going to list movies, and you're going to tell me if it's on or not on HBO Max at launch. Now, I want to point out today is May 30th. Today's May 30th, and I know that come Monday, June 1st, a lot of these answers could change, because at the first of every month, all of these movies tend to like hop, skip, and jump to other services.
Right.
So this is as of launch day. Are these movies on HBO Max? All right. So you're just going to give me quick yeses and nos. All right. We're going to go with The Matrix.
No.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's on Netflix. The Shawshank Redemption actually featured in the TV spots advertising HBO Max. Is it on HBO Max?
Based on that preamble, no.
Yeah, I'm going no.
No, it's on Fubo TV. Fubo TV. Fubo TV.
Fubo. For you, by you.
Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes, I think that is on there.
I'm going to stick with my no.
Yes, it is on HBO Max. You can watch that right now. Let's see. We just went through a big popular Michael Jordan docuseries, right? And Looney Tunes is having a reboot on HBO Max. Space Jam. Is Space Jam available on HBO Max at launch?
It is not.
Yeah, because that's on Netflix right now, right?
It's
I said
nowhere.
no. Oh, it was on
Space Jam's nowhere.
It was on Netflix like a couple weeks ago.
Not anymore.
All right. That just
gone.
goes to show.
The Wizard of Oz, basically one of the movies that started it all. Is it on HBO Max?
Should be. I'm going to
I
say
think
yes.
so. I want to say
That's
yeah.
a yes. Yes,
Okay,
it's on HBO Max currently. Let's go with Warner Brothers, known very much for their classic gangster films like Jimmy Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, all of that stuff. So let's go with 1949's White Heat, which is, a big gangster classic. Is that on HBO Max at
Cagney.
launch?
I know there's a lot of black and white old stuff. There's a lot of Turner Classic Movies, a lot of old westerns. I feel like they do have a good corner on the westerns. As far as the gangster stuff, I'm not sure. I'll go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt and say Jimmy Cagney's White Heat is on there.
I got to make
Will?
up ground because I already missed one that Greg got, and this is a competition in my mind, so I'm going to go no.
No, it's not. It's on IndieFlix.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Fantastic. Right. So Alfred Hitchcock signed a deal with Warner Brothers in the 50s to do like 4 movies. Right. It was worth $1 million in the 50s, that contract.
Wow.
So that's a heck of a contract. Strangers on a Train, Alfred Hitchcock. Can you watch it on HBO Max today?
I'm going to say yes.
I'm gonna go no. It's a guess.
No, you can't watch it anywhere. You can rent it. All these movies you can rent
course.
basically for like $3.99 on Apple or Prime, but you can't just stream it. Let's see, Man of Steel, the original Superman movie that Warner Brothers made for the new era. Man of Steel. Can you watch it on HBO Max?
I
No.
think so. I want to say that they've got the lockdown on most of the DC produced films that exist, except the 1966 Batman. I think
So
they
you're
got
going yes?
I'm going yes.
See, that would be my thought too, but I also scrolled through and didn't see it, and I feel like it would have surfaced that to me because that's totally the kind of movie I would watch. So I'm gonna say no.
Man of Steel's maybe one of the worst viewing experiences I've ever had as a movie watcher. It is just atrocious, and I could go on a 3-hour rant about that very bad movie, and that's probably why I don't give a damn about the Snyder Cut, and that's why we're not talking about it today. Man of Steel, you cannot watch it on HBO Max. I apologize, Will. But hey, can you watch Catwoman? Catwoman starring Halle Berry?
Sure.
That feels like a yes.
Absolutely. With your HBO Max subscription, you can watch Halle Berry starring as Catwoman. And while we stay on the DC train, how about Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises, the Nolan Batman trilogy?
Are they not on there? I know that they have DC stuff. That's kind of what
it's
they're
not on there.
advertising.
I won't even let you guys guess this one.
Yeah, I feel like
you
that's a
cannot
no.
watch the
Wow.
Nolan trilogy on HBO Max.
We would have heard about it if you could.
So it's a real mixed bag of random DC
Hey,
stuff.
Aquaman is on there.
Awesome.
I know that. I
So,
know that because I started it and then didn't finish it. So
I've got just a few more left. I'm having fun with this. Are you guys having fun?
yeah.
Let's do it.
Harley Quinn. Have you guys watched the Harley Quinn series, the animated series? It's fantastic.
I've heard it's good.
I have not watched it. No.
It's a
I would
DC
assume that's-
Universe. It's a DC Universe original series. It's hilarious, really well done. Greg, you will absolutely love it. Put that at the top of your list. Can you watch it on HBO Max?
No, I believe I'm going to assume that that's only available on the DC streaming service that exists right now. That will soon, hopefully, be absorbed and allow us to watch on HBO Max. That's what I'm hoping for.
Greg, you are correct.
Yeah.
You are correct. You cannot watch it on HBO Max. You can only watch it on DC Universe. So I've got a few more left. Can you watch the classic Singin' in the Rain?
I'm gonna go yes because that feels like
morning.
another one that
Good morning.
the licensing was probably figured out so long ago that they're able to get that in and it's not too complicated. So I'm going yes.
Yeah, ditto.
Yes, you can watch Singin' in the Rain. Can you watch Unforgiven? Unforgiven, directed by Clint Eastwood, winner of 4 Academy Awards for Best Editing, Best Supporting Actor Gene Hackman, Best Director Clint Eastwood, and Best Picture of the Year. Can you watch Unforgiven on HBO Max?
My money's on no.
I'm gonna go with the no too because you built up the hype there and it seems like that should be a no-brainer.
Nope, you got to go to Showtime to watch that one. How about let's keep going with the Let's keep going with the award winners, huh? How about Argo, winner of 3 Academy Awards, including Best Picture of the Year? Can you watch that on HBO Max?
No.
That feels like you should be able to. Of all the ones, I feel like that feels like an HBO movie. So I'm gonna go yes, even though I'm betting the answer is no.
I'm going no.
Nope, you can't stream Argo anywhere. It is not on HBO Max. You cannot stream it for any subscription service. 2 left. How about Lord of the Rings? We all know that the third Lord of the Rings film, Return of the King, won the Academy Award for Best Picture, and did it win Best Director as well? Did Peter Jackson?
I thought it did a lot that
Yes,
year.
he did win. Yeah.
You got like third. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy on HBO Max at lunch?
No.
No.
Wrong. Yes, you can.
okay,
So
good.
if you guys got 10 plus hours that you want to take out of your day, go for it.
Cue that up today.
All right, and we're going to go, the last one I have is The Departed, winner of 4 Academy Awards, including Best Editing, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Director, Martin Scorsese, and Best Picture of the Year. Can you stream that on HBO Max at launch? Yes or no?
No.
No.
No, you got to go to CBS All Access to stream The Departed.
Not doing that.
So
doing
let me
that.
tally up. Let me tally up all of these scores.
Did you recall what we said on all of? Oh, you're okay. Yeah, there
Let
it
me
is.
tally up. Oh, it's a tie. Oh, it's a tie.
Oh, hey, we tied.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Wow.
I don't think we tied. I won that.
You know,
Thanks for playing.
I do have to say though, there's one movie that you missed that you can watch on there that I started watching last night that makes it all worth it, and that's Armageddon.
Ooh, that's good.
Armageddon.
Armageddon is on HBO Max.
but it's on HBO.
Well, for
So
right now, I can
Armageddon-
watch it.
Armageddon is actually a Disney movie So that will be leaving HBO very soon and will probably live its life on Hulu eventually.
That's fine because I have Hulu. It's great. I love
Armageddon's
Armageddon.
fantastic.
It's
I
so
rewatched
good.
Armageddon this past week. I cried no fewer than 4 times.
It's so great.
It's so great.
I know we've been
This is turning into an Armageddon podcast.
Armageddon's one of my favorites. I know we've been trashing HBO a bit, but they do have almost all of the Studio Ghibli movies. I think there's only one that's not on there. That's really cool. That's never been available before on free streaming in the United States. Not free, but it's never been available on a streaming service before here in the U.S. So that's a pretty exciting get for them. And then of course, the HBO television library is unparalleled. You've got all of that. But of course, if you had HBO Go or HBO Now prior to that, that's not anything new and special. But if you didn't, I mean, congratulations. You've got the best TV library maybe ever. There's so much great stuff on HBO.
Pretty sure that most people had that for years prior to HBO Max. So yeah,
At the same
I'm
time,
just saying,
I didn't, and I haven't watched any of Succession, and I've heard that that's amazing. So like, I've got all that in front of me. The Sopranos, I haven't watched that, but I know Garrett's been mad at me for not having watched it.
Get
And
on The
so now I
Sopranos.
can.
I'm
So-
wrapping up my 8th or 9th rewatch of The Sopranos right now, so you better catch up. Listen, I know that this is a marathon, not a sprint. I'm just saying, day one launch, a bit of a bungle.
Yeah.
And unimpressive. Probably a rough week to try to, gain market share in terms of public attention, considering everything that's going on. Fine, I'll give you that, but you guys didn't put yourselves in the best position possible.
For sure.
And that's all I have to say about HBO Max. I'm waiting for you guys to impress me. I'm sitting here with my arms folded, waiting for you to impress me. Jumping off of our HBO Max discussion, we really wanted to discuss a list of movies and television shows that are currently are not on Disney Plus but should be. Now, let me disclaimer here. Like, we all know that contracts exist. We know that these movies are elsewhere. Some of them are nowhere. But we're just doing this list because we're doing a podcast, and you're at home and you're listening to us and you're bored and we're bored and we're creating a list. Yeah. Did you guys have any special criteria? I had specific criteria when I went into this list, because otherwise I would have made this a list of Color of Money written 10 times.
I had no criteria.
No, I didn't have criteria. I kind of did realize in the back of my head that some of these things are a little more off-brand, so I kind of questioned whether I should add them to my master list. And Garrett, you've narrowed it down to kind of our master list. But I had a couple ones. I guess I'll throw out our honorable mentions at this point before we get into it. So some stuff that was a little off-brand, maybe didn't feel quite right for Disney Plus. Independence Day, I believe that's owned by Garrett. This is all
20th Century Fox.
20th Century Fox.
20th Century Fox.
So, I mean, Disney owns Fox now. Many of us believe that means, many of us hope and believe that means all the Fox stuff will end up on Disney Plus someday.
Many people are saying that all of this Fox stuff will end up on Hulu, hopefully.
Independence Day is in that category, not on Disney Plus. The original Planet of the Apes trilogy, also Fox, I want to say.
I think that's all Fox, yeah.
Yeah, so, I said trilogy, but I believe there's like 5 or 6 of them. I don't even know. But,
I think there's like 8. They made so many of those movies.
Mrs. Doubtfire, Home Alone 1 and 2, That Thing You Do, all great 90s films that give me a fuzzy feeling inside. All of them Fox, so none of them quite making our cut, which we tried to keep mostly to true Disney products, I believe.
Yeah. So when I started listing titles, I sort of gave myself the criteria that it has to be rated PG-13 or lower, because I do believe that nothing rated R will ever be on Disney Plus. Fine. If it's rated R, it'll go to Hulu. That's why they bought Hulu, for the rest of that stuff. And it also needs to sort of fit within the Disney brand. So while Greg said Independence Day, I'm sort of thinking that's more of a Hulu movie.
Feels that way.
right?
For sure.
My only one that I thought that was on that didn't make this list was Malcolm in the Middle, and that's entirely because I feel like Disney Plus needs a show like that that is both has the nostalgia but is also high quality. Because I think like Disney Plus right now is missing an Office, it's missing a Friends, it's missing something that I can just turn on and kind of half pay attention to, fall asleep to, because I can't do that with The Adventures of Gummy Bears, as much as I love that theme song. So I understand why it didn't make it, but I think it would be a strong business decision for them to find something like that to anchor the platform.
I want to add in a couple more honorable mentions. Sandlot, another Fox one that. I mean, come on, people. Come on, people. This is very on brand for
Love the Sandlot.
For Disney.
Greg doesn't even like sports, but he loves the Sandlot. So
absolutely.
That says a lot about the Sandlot.
And then this one's more out of left field, and maybe it should have made the list, but Garrett curated this. But there's a series called Star Wars Detours that was never released. A number of episodes.
I've never heard of it.
Well, it didn't actually get released, but it existed. A number of episodes were fully produced. But then the transition, Disney bought Star Wars while that was happening. The new people in charge didn't really care about this project. They had new plans for the Star Wars universe. And all of this was it was a comedy animated series. A lot of the people who worked on Robot Chicken, Seth Green's on it, Dan Milano, a lot of really talented comedy writers worked on this show. And then it just kind of got the axe and it's dead and it doesn't exist and no one's ever seen it. But they own it. They bought that. They own all that stuff. It's just not what they wanted to do with Star Wars. But, everyone who loves Star Wars wants all the Star Wars content they could ever get. So I say just slap them up there and let people see this thing, even if it was never supposed to see the light of day. Because that's just a cool...
It's the Snyder Cut. It's the Snyder Cut of Star Wars.
Yeah, that, throw on the Ewoks, throw on all that Star Wars, the junky Christmas special, just overload it because that's what people are coming to Disney for, I think.
Well, I'll be sure to send this episode to Kathleen Kennedy for you,
Thanks,
Greg.
appreciate it.
And I think if you are waxing poetic about this Star Wars show that you've never seen but might exist, I implore you to watch Harley Quinn. I think it's everything you're looking for.
Oh, I will.
I think it's everything you're looking for. So report back. So, Greg, you want to start off with this list? We did this list in chronological order because I don't have the brain power to rank this stuff currently. Why? So, Greg, what's first on the list?
First thing on the list, it's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the Muppets on The Muppet Show tonight. The Muppet Show... The Muppet Show is not available on Disney+. There are a number of other Muppet things also not on Disney+. There's no original Muppet Babies. There's no Muppets Tonight. I'm sure there are other deeper cut Muppet things that also aren't on here, and Disney, they own it all. They've got the hammer down on the Muppet stuff, and if you're going to be our only source for Muppets, well, give us the good stuff. Give us the original Muppet Show, right? Why is it not there?
I'm with you on that. A lot of the movies that made this final list, it's going to shock you to know that I haven't seen.
Not sure.
I was actually going to ask with each movie we list. I was going to say, Will, have you seen this one?
Yeah, great. We can play that game. But the Muppet Show, I do have fond memories of, and I would turn that on. I don't think it's quite the Malcolm in the Middle status of what I was talking about earlier, but also I haven't watched it in a while, so it might fit that void. So it does feel like a no-brainer that they should have it on there.
So next on our list is this is not a movie that I would put on immediately, but I know a lot of people love it. Dead Poet Society. I love Dead Poet Society, but I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, I have not watched a Robin Williams film since he passed away. I still can't bring myself to do it. It's just a personal thing where when I watch him doing his comedy, it feels like a performance, and when he's doing his serious stuff, that feels like the real Robin Williams to me when I watch it, and it's hard for me to be in the moment. I mean, even watching Aladdin to me is man, look at what we lost. But Dead Poet Society is a classic movie. It fits with the Disney brand, and like let's teach some kids some poetry. I mean, damn it, come on.
Yeah, come on, Disney Plus, seize the day. Carpe diem. Drop Dead Poet Society on there. We're all standing on our desks. We're all standing on our desks, just yelling at Disney Plus to add Dead Poet Society to the channel. Come on, guys.
Will, have you seen Dead Poet Society?
Parts of it.
Ah, good boy. Okay, Greg, you're up next.
Up next from TGIF days, Dinosaurs.
Excellent.
Beloved sitcom of the 90s. The Sinclair family has not graced our screens in any significant way since. It's never been rebooted. It's never been redone, and it's just a couple seasons sitting there in the ether, and we're Disney, let's see it. I know it has a sad ending that maybe isn't necessarily the Disney brand, but that's not true. Bambi's mother gets shot pretty early on. That's,
spoiler alert.
Haven't seen that movie, Greg.
Spoiler.
Sorry guys, but yeah, no, Dinosaurs, like, just an absolute joy of a show. It's so funny, and it's got all this great character work, all the wonderful prosthetics, and those just like those costumes that they used are,
they're great.
What was that show, the Prop Show? We talked about it on Disney.
Prop culture.
I would love to see a Prop Culture episode about dinosaurs.
I rewatched the first season of Dinosaurs a while back when it was living on Hulu, and it holds up because it sort of plays along old sitcom tropes and maps it within a dinosaur world, which just is funny. It's great. It doesn't live on Hulu anymore, so yeah, let's move that puppy over to Disney Plus. Let's get on that. Next on the list for me is Father of the Bride. Father of the Bride Part 2, Touchstone movie, family-oriented content there. I mean, you're talking like Steve Martin at maybe not his best, but at his like very good. Like maybe not like Michael Jordan flu game, like finals appearance good, but like just next level. I can't find this movie anywhere. I can't stream it anywhere, and I don't want to pay like $19.99 to watch, to own Father of the Bride. I want one of these services to have it on there, because if they had Father of the Bride on there, I would probably watch it like 4 times a year, because it's a perfect background doing chores movie.
I don't think I've seen Father of the Bride since like 1994. I don't, so I don't have any special feelings toward it, but it is like kind of one of those standard. It's a name in comedy films from the 90s that just like, why isn't that available? That should be.
Will?
No, of course not.
Yeah, no, of course not.
I'd seen Dinosaurs, but you didn't throw it to me on that one. So.
Oh, sorry.
Well, it was TV. The next couple, though, I actually have seen. So
all right, then why don't you take on the next couple, Will?
Okay, well, the next one on this list is The Mighty Ducks. Which I can't wax poetically as on that much, other than like it's a great movie. You got the slap shot, you got the like evil bad guys from Iceland. It's great. A lot of fun. I love a sports movie. I love a Disney sports movie. I would, if that was on there, it would definitely be one of the ones that I would rewatch, similar to Heavyweights. It fits that same kind of category for me. So
it's shocking.
If Heavyweights is on there, it should be.
Yeah, it's shocking that Mighty Ducks. Of course, Heavyweights is on there. We did a podcast about it, Will.
Right.
Love
I'm saying like if that
okay.
qualifies, then this should definitely be on there.
Well, Will, I do have some good news for you. If you want to watch The Mighty Ducks, the original, you know where you can stream that currently?
HBOMax?
HBOMax. Yeah. So get it while you can. So I'm guessing when that contract's up, it'll slide right into the mailbox of Disney Plus.
I've got some more good news for you. I've got some more good news for you,
Greg.
Will. If you're upset you can't watch Mighty Ducks 2, or D3 The Mighty Ducks on Disney Plus, they do, however, have a little animated show called The Mighty Ducks. And it has a great theme song.
I think I've heard that theme song.
I don't think we've covered that. This sounds unfamiliar. I'm excited for Will's next movie that he suggested, and I didn't think of it, but you're absolutely correct in suggesting this. Go for it, Will.
Well, it's the Three Ninjas. I mean,
Three ninjas. Rocky loves Emily. Rocky
Exactly.
loves Emily.
I think I
mean-
recently rewatched a basketball scene from the Three Ninjas where it's like they use their ninja superpowers to like beat the bullies at basketball. It's great.
Yes, it's
Holds
fantastic.
up.
It's
As
lovely.
a kid, I wanted to be a ninja. I like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I couldn't be a mutant turtle. I could be these kids. I was not. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, great movie. Another instant rewatchable. One that I think, as an adult, I could turn back on and still get enjoyment out of it, which is a theme for a lot of these that I'm feeling like Disney Plus is missing. So
I
would
love
that was
Three
on there.
Ninjas. So we used to watch it as kids. I'm one of three boys, and I am the youngest, and I am also the pudgy one. So
You were
the fact
Tum Tum.
that
Tum Tum.
I was Tum Tum. It's Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum. And so, I don't know. I mean, I'll probably be dealing with that in therapy someday.
Such a Tum Tum.
Of being labeled Tum Tum, but I think I burned through the VHS of this movie when I would just watch it all the time. It's so much fun.
We're talking all four movies. Same with Mighty Ducks. That was representative of all of the trilogy. With Three Ninjas, we want the quadrilogy. We need High Noon at Mega Mountain.
You want Hulk Hogan?
I want Hulk Hogan, High Noon at Mega Mountain on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Next on the list for me is a movie that you guys probably wouldn't have put on there, but I have to. It's one of my favorite movies. I would say it's top 10, maybe top 15 movies of all time for me. It's Quiz Show, 1994, nominated for Best Picture, nominated for quite a few Academy Awards, but sort of forgotten in that year because that year was the year of Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction and, what else? Oh, Shawshank Redemption was 1994. So Quiz Show was sort of like the number 4 guy in line, but it's an excellent watch. It's slow, it's very talky, but it's educational, it's historical. It was produced by Hollywood Pictures, which is a subsidiary of Disney. We got Hollywood Pictures, we got Touchstone, we got Buena Vista. Like, they got all sorts of these satellite companies that they could produce and distribute movies through. I adore Quiz Show. I implore anybody to watch it. It's wonderful. Great John Turturro performance as well.
Great movie, directed by Robert Redford. Great cast: Turturro, Ray Fiennes, Hank Azaria, Christopher McDonald's in it. It's a very cool, very, very good movie. Will, have you seen it?
My answer to that quiz is no.
Ah, man.
Quizno.
Man, let's go to the next one. I think Greg, you have some really big feelings about the next one, right?
Oh yeah, well this is a movie. I believe it's a Disney released film, right? Garrett?
This is Disney released.
Disney released
branded
live action
released, yeah.
film from the mid 2000s, I want to say.
2007. 2007.
Right, 2007, and it was one of those movies that, going into it didn't have the appeal for me on the surface. Like, you see the poster, you see the trailer, you go like, this is whatever. But Enchanted is a hilarious film. It's really great, and it has great comedic performance by, what's his name? The Prince. He plays the Prince. Cyclops. What's his name? Cyclops.
Scott's the character name. James Marsden.
James Marsden is hysterical in this
Yes.
movie, and Amy Adams is equally funny as the lead role. Like, just the fish out of water princess in the real world live action film. Enchanted is actually a great, really funny movie.
Excellent meta comedy. Will, have you seen it?
I think evidenced by the fact that I got up in the middle of Greg talking about it to get myself more coffee, knowing that I couldn't contribute at all to this conversation,
All
is
right.
no.
Greg, the penultimate one on this list is all you. You go for it.
Sure, I will. I believe I've talked about it way back on the Toy Story podcast. Toy Story of Terror and Toy Story That Time Forgot. Those were Toy Story TV specials that are of the quality of the original films. They are so funny. They're so clever. The writing's great, and they're just great little TV specials. Toy Story of Terror is about, I believe it's a Halloween-themed Toy Story about Jessie overcoming her fears of like claustrophobia and loneliness. And then Toy Story That Time Forgot is this like great setup about like these dinosaur action figures, and it's I don't know. Both of them are delightful, and they're not available on Disney Plus, much to my chagrin.
So fitting with the Toy Story theme, it's a couple of family TV specials about psychological trauma. Oh, sounds like a joy.
Exactly.
Sure. I'm sure that would play real well in quarantine right now. Claustrophobia. I've only seen these specials once, I think, when they aired, and I remember enjoying them. Greg has talked so extensively about them that I want to revisit them, and I can't imagine why they aren't on Disney Plus.
It's a real head scratcher.
I don't know why aren't, because they do re-air them every year, do they not, on ABC?
I couldn't say for sure, honestly.
I think they do. I think either on ABC or Freeform, one of their stations, cable networks. I do see it on TV every once in a while, but who watches TV anymore, guys?
And I feel like I haven't seen either of these either, but I feel like there's an opportunity here for Disney Plus or Disney itself to almost create like an event type television piece with this. Like if these two are like as quality as Greg is saying, then I feel like you could easily say we're going to drop this Friday. Here's the date, 7 p.m. whatever. Watch it, family event, family fun night. And kind of get some more of that momentum that seems to be missing now that The Mandalorian has ended and they don't really have that new releases that are coming out. But
I think you're going to get that with Hamilton. I think we're only 5 weeks away from Hamilton. I think that's going to be
soon. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, July 3rd. It's Friday, the Friday of Independence Day weekend. So since we all can't go out and watch fireworks, I'm just going to blast some Hamilton on my Sonos until my neighbors complain. And yeah, that's it.
Nice.
So we got one more on this list. Will, you want to go for it since it seems like it's one of the few you've seen?
Yeah, I'll do this one. These are both, and I understand, these are both the new Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I understand that there's like the issue with Sony and like they're kind of splitting the rights there as to whether or not they Marvel owns it or Sony does or they're sharing it. Yeah. But I think
guys, we get it. Don't send the tweets.
Exactly.
We know it's a Sony film, both of them. Thank you. Bye.
But I think that this would be they should do what they have to do to get this on the service, because I think, moving into what's called phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're having to establish all these new characters as the like flagship faces of the whole thing. And Spider-Man's going to be one of them. So if you want to get people into it that didn't see it in theaters, this is the opportunity to do it while everyone's stuck at home.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was just saying it is a glaring hole in that subsection of Disney Plus. You have all of the Marvel movies, except you don't have all of the Marvel movies. So
you don't have the future of Marvel.
Yeah.
And you need that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those things where Disney just needs to they just need to pay the money to license it for Disney Plus. You might not have it in perpetuity, but you need to pay the money at least in the short term to have Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. Frankly, I think Spider-Man Homecoming is maybe one of the best MCU movies they've made. It's definitely like one of my top favorites. And you just need to do what you need to do to get it on there, because right now the entire Marvel MCU library, it feels incomplete without them. And just license it. Do it. Pay Sony what they want. You guys can come on a deal. You guys can rub each other's shoulders. Like, you do this, I'll do that. Yeah. Come on, buddy. Let's do it.
And I would turn on Far From Home again just to watch Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, he's so fun in that role.
So good.
Like,
he's so good. Do you know the inspiration of that role for Jake Gyllenhaal?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Greg, I don't know if you know this.
No.
So Jake Gyllenhaal was in a little movie called Zodiac. It's a David Fincher film, right? And David Fincher is known for doing I think the opening scene of Social Network. He did 127 takes of stuff, and during Zodiac, Fincher had. Jake Gyllenhaal's been very vocal about it. I think it was a Vanity Fair piece or whatever.
This,
He had him do 47 takes of picking a pencil off of a desk. Jake Gyllenhaal was going insane. And he's just I'll never work with him again. This man is a madman. So when Far From Home came out, that was totally him sort of channeling David Fincher into that character and just being maniacal, and I love it. And I think that's
so
partly why he took the role, because it's like, oh man, I'm totally going to get back at Fincher for this. Oh, and only like 2% of the population is going to realize what I'm doing.
Well, now I'm going to go watch those scenes on YouTube now, since I can't watch it on Disney Plus, but I want to see them again. So
you can get a 30-day free trial from Starz and watch Far From Home today. Well, why don't you go do that?
okay, I might do that.
Yeah, we got to get those Spider-Man movies on Disney Plus, and then I'll feel like the Marvel collection's complete.
For sure.
I think that I stand by the theme of these things that are missing from it are stuff that appeal to the people that are paying for Disney Plus, and not the kids. But we'll see how their gamble plays off.
But you know what? The kids who watch Disney Plus go to school, and they probably relate to Spider-Man and Peter Parker more than they relate to Captain America, like First Avenger, you know? That's why Homecoming's so good. It's just a high school movie with superheroes in it. So that was a good selection, and I wholly support that. That has my vote. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the DplusCast. Future episodes we have lined up. We're going to re-explore the 2012 disaster. No, not the movie 2012, but 2012's John Carter, which was a big turning point for Walt Disney Company, and we're gonna have special guest John Varon on for that. And Greg, we've got something lined up for Father's Day too coming up, right?
Yeah, as someone who's not a father, just like the rest of you, we're going to bring in other not father writing partner, Alan Denton. We're going to talk about Three Men and a Baby. The number one
highest grossing movie of 1987.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I watched it like a year ago. It ages well. It ages well. And I cannot wait to talk about the weird subplots in that movie. But we're going to have
I'm excited to watch both of those movies for the first time.
Yeah, we're going to have 4 non-dads celebrate Father's Day by watching Three Men and a Baby.
You should not be too excited to watch John Carter, Will. Don't be too excited.
Yeah, no, that's going to be
it's got Tim Riggins, right?
Tim Riggins. Texas Forever, man.
It was like the start and end of his film career.
We'll get into that. Okay, we'll go
cool.
deep into the story of John Carter when we cover it. So we hope you guys come back and join us for those. Will, you got anything to plug?
No, just my Twitter handle. If you want to follow me and not see my tweets for a long time, because I never tweet, it's Will Lentz.
Cool. Greg?
Follow me on Twitter at It's Greg Hahn, and if you like toys and action figures, follow me on Instagram at It's Greg's Toys.
Cool. You could find me on Twitter and Instagram, my name, at Gary TT. Please rate, review, subscribe. We need it. We need it, guys. We need any kind of hope in our lives, and any kind of subscription. Will sends me a direct text message, and we have a big celebration. We light off fireworks. I blow up balloons. I do not release the balloons into the atmosphere, but because that's just very
irresponsible.
It's irresponsible. You shouldn't do that. But we do celebrate every subscription. So please do that. Follow us, this show, on Twitter and Instagram at DplusCast, DPLUSCAST. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.